In this video I'll show you how to make a quick replica carbon fiber part from a 3D printed part. Let's go.
That's a good one!
So welcome back, guys. Right, today I have this little part. This is a surround sent to me by a customer, surround for Nuke Performance remote filler cap. If I have a picture, I'll put it right here. This goes on the side of your car or the side of the window, and I assume the gentleman designed this himself. This is a very good 3D printed part. He did send me a long email with his request, what he wants, the finish wise and everything. So he wants this in carbon. It's very simple part. It literally has, well, it's one circle with two cutouts, about a bunch of holes drilled, and only one sort of radius on the inside. So what I'm planning to do is make a quick mold, and then we're gonna make a carbon part from this. Ultimately, I haven't asked him that yet, but I will probably end up offering them as parts to buy. So if you have a Nuke filler thing, you would be able to buy this from my web shop. What do you need to do the part or make the mold? Obviously, if you're designing something on a 3D, make sure when you print it, the quality is absolutely the best. Use the smallest layer height and stuff. This part in particular has been printed really good. The outside version is not, but this part is really good. But what you need to do first, you need to finish this part and make it ready for molding, essentially. So I'm using different grid papers, 180 just for a few little seams, and then 600 soft pad just to smooth it all, because you want it. Remember, when you take a mold of this part, whatever the texture is will transfer onto the mold. Yes, you can fix the mold afterwards, but gel coat is not really suitable for sort of prolonged sanding and sort of finishing. You can polish it, but because the guy actually wants it in satin, this plays well for me, because I don't need to make it absolutely smooth and shiny, because matte is what we want. So this surface is going to be absolutely perfect. So I'm going to sand it a little bit more just to make sure that everything is absolutely spot on, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to flange it. People ask me quite often, what material is best for making flanges? This is the best material. Some brand name, I think it's Corex or whatever. So basically this is like a plastic sort of protective sheeting. I use 4mm because it's nice and stiff. Penis! And it's very simple. We're just gonna put this on here, and I'm gonna trace, because ultimately it's just a circle. So I'm gonna cut a square, and then I'm gonna cut a circle out, so this basically sinks through, and then we're gonna have another circle for the bottom, and then I'm just gonna use glue gun, attach all of this together so it all becomes one part. So here we are. This is what we have. Might need a little clean here and there, but essentially this is ready for molding. What I will do is I will put wax in here, because remember, this becomes your visual part. So if you have a dimple, gel coat will go in it, and then on the reverse part it will be a little dome. You don't really want that. In ideal world, you want to make them as a dome, so then when you make the part it becomes a dimple, so it's easy for you to drill through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of wax in these holes just so they're slightly proud over the hole, and also I think I'm gonna smooth this cut out so there is no sort of sharp edge, so it's nice and smooth. So when you make your mold, everything is nice and smooth, so resin or gel coat or whatever doesn't have a chance to sort of go in and have a mechanical lock. Also good idea to make a little base just so this doesn't actually bend. So this is very simple, completely freehand, just a couple of whatever and with a few reinforcing parts, so this can actually sit flat on whatever surface over whatever table you are going to be working on. So here we are. This is basically your plug ready for the mold. I put tape. Only reason why I put tape is because this folds when you make a mold. If they are really, it just makes it easier and just nice and smooth for the tape to go afterwards, because this is going to be infused. So a very large flange, you want quite a bit, and that's it. Next step of the process is we put release agent. You can use PVA, you can use wax, but what I found with wax is just longer and whatever, and if you already have wax, it's not as perfect. So for me, chemical release agent every time for something like this. 6 layers, 6 coats, wait about an hour after the last one, and then we can apply gel coat. The next step is to use gel coat. Because I'm using Unimold system, absolutely love this Unimold tooling gel coat. You need to apply 2 layers, already pre-mixed. This is 120 grams of resin, and you need to put 3% catalyst, and it's just a normal MKP catalyst. This is just a really handy bottle to do it. So this is already pre-mixed, and I'm just using a cheap brush to apply a single layer. This layer must be around 5.06 millimeters thick, and we apply 2 layers. So let's go. I'm doing this outside because this stuff is stinky, but luckily it's only a small mold, so we don't have to do it very long. So definitely suggest you wear PPI, protective equipment, because this will give you headache and free cancer. Oh, by the way, do you remember how I made a modification to those little holes and I make them as a dimples? I made a mistake, so I rectified that. I made them as a dimple, so the mold would have an indent. So the final part would have a dimple, which means you would have to drill from the backside. I don't really want that, because if you drill carbon fiber from the backside, it's similar to plywood. It has a tendency to push things out. So I want the dimple on the inside, so I basically made them deep, which is not really a big issue. It would have worked either way, just would have been a reverse. So as per instructions, about 8 hours until it's kind of still a little bit tacky. So it's the next morning. So now it's all ready for the coupling coat. Unimold system has basically 3 layers to it, and that's what makes it so nice. The first is obviously the gel coat, which is color black, and then we have the coupling coat. Coupling coat is well, same system resin, but you apply really thin 100 GSM sheet of material. And this basically, you see how see-through it is? It serves a purpose of bridging the layer between the gel coat and the main reinforcement layer, and in particular it goes into contours very nice. So all the details and everything you basically cover with this first, and it creates a nice little layer for the main reinforcement to adhere to. We only need 2 layers, so I've just pre-mixed 250 grams of resin, and the same principle. You just apply it with a brush, loosely put this, dab it into place, and leave it to go into stage B, and then we can put the full reinforcement. Yep, about 2 hours later, this one is set, so it's ready for a normal reinforcement coat. This is 400 GSM loose fiberglass. We have tooling resin unimold system, about 900 grams. Mix it with M-Cape and apply 4 layers. And after all of this, you basically end up with this. I kind of already started demolding it, I just cannot wait. Let's see how it looks on the inside. I think this is perfect. All it needs is a little cleanup of the wax and a quick wash in a hot bath. A difference between a mold and a good mold is when you spend hours sanding it with a wet and dry sandpaper. I usually go with 800 first, and then 1500, does it say here? 1500, and it gives you a really nice finish. And if you were to polish it, it would be almost like a mirror-like finish. I know purists would say after 1500 you need to go 2000, 3000 to polish it. It's applicable to car paint, but I found that on the molds it's honestly good enough. But of course, if you want to spend the time, go with the 3000, but I found that after 1500 it polishes up really well. This we're not going to polish because the customer requested it to be sort of a matte finish, and after sanding it with the wet and dry, this is precisely what you get. So it's not fully matte, it's almost like a little satin look. You will see when it's done. I think it's going to be legit. So this is after wet sanding and also cleaned with a mold cleaner. This is basically the finish that we want. You see how it's satin, and I think it's pretty good. No visible scratches or marks. So this is definitely ready for molding. So next step, you all know the step, 6 layers of chemical release agent, 1 hour between the last coat and the fact that we can actually apply it. And then I reckon this part would need maybe 3, maybe 4 layers of carbon. Because it's such a small part, it will be pure carbon, no point using anything else. Yeah, 4 layers and then just infuse it, so it should be really small part, super light, strong enough, and yeah, we'll drill the holes and you'll see.
3:28 a.m.
Well, some might say, hey Rusky, you're jumping ahead. Well, there's no real art in laying a number of pieces into a small mold like this with barely any sort of shape. It's literally 4 layers of carbon and 1 layer of carbon Kevlar on the inside. That's it. I use Fusion Fix just to help stabilize it, cut the squares and just push it, and with your fingers it just goes very nice and smooth around. And then once all the layers are done, I usually go around with a roller whenever there is like a tight sort of curve. The next step obviously for this is to put tape all the way around it. We need to put peel ply, and then we need to put mesh like this just to help everything flow, and then inlet and outlet for the resin. Pretty much as simple as that. I'm limiting the flow of resin because it's a small object. We don't want it to infuse super quick because I want resin to go through every single fiber, and I can control with this how fast it goes. I'm using literally a fast hardener, but because this one is such a small item anyways, we're almost done, and I'm heavily limiting the flow. But yeah, in about 5 minutes it will be done. Clamp everything off, wait 12 hours probably because it's fast, and tomorrow morning I'll be able to show you and myself, because I can't wait to see it, this finished part.
The next morning.
Absolutely perfect if you ask me. Exactly what we wanted. It's nice and satin. Yeah, boy, very happy. It's exactly what we wanted. Nice and strong. So the next step is cut it all around. As you can see, we can clearly see the edge. So cut it all around, cut the inner part out, and then drill the holes and lightly sand it with a really fine wet, dry and wet sandpaper, so it becomes really nice and satin, and customer should be very happy. Let's cut this. So here we are, from this to this and to this. This is your final carbon part, satin matte finish. It's not perfect by all means. You can obviously get it to better state if you want to clear coat it and stuff. This is basically essentially out of the mold how it comes out, with just a light wet sanding. This is what the customer wants. He wants a matte finish. So this is what he's gonna get. I'm very happy. It's extremely light. I mean, even this thing was extremely light, but it's a perfect sort of dimensions. It's the same size as this. So it sits in there very nicely. So this is a surround for new performance remote filter. So if you can imagine, this goes on the side of the car, this gets attached to the side of the car, and you have your remote filter. So it sits inside the thing. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked this video. It was a tutorial. It was a tutorial, but it was more of a like how I go about doing it from a 3D to this. Very happy with this. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, don't forget, leave them in the bottom. I always reply to all of the messages. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.